in Institute of Applied Informatics. I'd like today to present you my research on statistical arbitrage of pair trading using future commodity markets with nanosecond information. This research was done together with my supervisor, associate professor Saulius Mistake. First of all, a bit outline. I'm gonna go really briefly what we're going to talk about, relevance of the topic, what is pair trading in high frequency, methodology of pair trading, data which was used for this research, normalization, pair selection, trading strategy, and results. Why is important to discuss this topic, algorithmic trading? If you take into account all the trades that are done worldwide, more than half is done using algorithms. That means without human interface, there's computers, supercomputers, artificial intelligence programs that make trades, buy and sell signals in the market. Out of algorithmic trading, about half trades are done using high frequency trading. This is my subject, this is the research which I'm doing on, and high frequency trading can be divided in three main parts: low latency strategies, statistical arbitrage, pair trading, and market making. What is statistical arbitrage, or in other words, pair trading? The main idea is to find two financial instruments that move together. That means they are correlated. And historically, they follow each other. For example, we have two similar stocks of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They're similar products that should respond to similarly to the market behavior. If one goes up, the other one follows. If one plummets, the other one should follow as well. And this is an example. If you see if the Coke rises up, it did react to some market behavior, we should expect that Pepsi should as well. So the stock which moved the first, we buy that stock, and the other one, to cover the losses, we short the stock. And depending on the difference of the movement or abnormal behavior, we measure the abnormal behavior and wait for the moment till we can close the positions and take the loss or the profit. As I spoke a little bit about high frequency, and now the methodology of pair trading that is implemented in this research. First of all, we need to identify a window for trading and normalization. Why it's important? If we work now with nanoseconds, it's important to not take too big windows for trading, because if you take like maybe 10 minutes, half an hour, the data would be too smooth and you wouldn't detect small market behaviors that could be applied for your trading opportunity. Thus, in this research, it was taken 10 seconds trading window together with data normalization. Then it's important to normalize the data. Normalization is done because you need to compare the prices of different future commodities. In order to compare different prices, they're different size. That's why it is important to normalize them. Then it is necessary to find the correlated pairs, define parameters for trading, and imply trading signals, and evaluate the strategy and evaluate the performance of the strategy. We got really lucky. We began our partnership with another company that is provided with us with big help, and they provide us with nanosecond information of 5 future commodity contracts that include natural gas, Brent crude oil, New York Harbor, ULSD, and gasoline. The period of trading consists only for 1 month, during 2015, August 1st till August 31st. And the total number of the data after normalization is 287,872,500 records per commodity. And we have to apply all this information to our trading strategy and to measure all this information to each other to find correlated pairs and to implement our trading strategy. As I spoke, data normalization is necessary in order to be able to compare different prices of future commodity contracts more efficiently. In that case, we can measure the difference in the prices and find correlation. Correlation or pair selection is selected in using configuration method that includes identification of the future contract pairs that could be correlated. Then, upon identification, we find potential pairs, and the hypothesis that the future contracts pair are correlated based on the historical data needs to be verified, and examination of the configuration pairs to find whether they can be traded on. So, if when we find the pairs, then we implement trading strategy in order to make trade signals. For the configuration method, first of all, we implemented augmented decay fluid test. This is used to check for the stationary. If the future commodity contract is stationary, once we detect it passes this test, we implement Engel-Ganger's two-step approach to look for configuration, and then together with Johansen test, if the pair passes both of the tests, this pair can be applied to our trading strategy. The strategy used was presented by Herleman and is done as follows. First of all, for our given trading window, we find the standard deviation of normalized prices difference of our found pair of commodity future contract. Then we find the mean for that given window, and if the future contract A and B pair price difference is lower than 2 times standard deviation for that given trading window, we begin our trading accordingly. All the positions are kept no longer than for 10 seconds. This is done because if we keep the positions open for too long, we would miss other important trading signals that could be applied if we reach the limit of the trading time. This is strategy in more detail, which is explained, and the results. As we see in the picture, this is the total number of trades for each day. You can see some empty places. This is because there are weekends. The average number of trades per day is 250,000 trades per day. And as we can see, the total number of trades for the whole trading period is 5,869,860, and the total profit is 90.2%. The thing is, when we did our research, we didn't take into account commissions, and the thing is, we assume that the market provides us, because we provide market with liquidity, they don't take into account commissions. Thus, we check only for the efficiency of the trading. And the conclusions, we did integrate our configuration method for pair selection. We used Herleman pair trading proposal strategy to measure the profitability of the trading. As I mentioned, we didn't take into account commission, which should be really important if you want to apply this strategy into real markets. And when trading a real market, one trade with margin, which could be 1 to 2 or even 1 to 4. And of course, our main thing of this research is not to find and detect profitable strategy, but to be able to make decisions fast. Because if you're working in nanoseconds, you have to beat other algorithms. And this calculation got done only with CPUs. And our next step would be implement more strategies using GPU cores in order to be more, to be even faster than now. And thank you. Questions?
Okay, thank you. So now we'll start the discussion. So any questions?
I would like to ask.
Yes.
You mentioned that it is a little bit hard to adapt your strategy in real conditions at the moment.
It's not that hard, but you have to take into account that
more requirements for that.
Yeah, because you have to take out commissions. In this case, we didn't take into account any commission for the chain because there are made 5 million trades. So if even takes like 1 cent per trade, it really would change the whole efficiency of the strategy.
Okay. So next one.
Okay.
If you want to adapt to real conditions, you have to make some more research.
Yeah.
So how time do you need to make that research that you could adapt your strategy to real world, to real conditions? And second part of the question is that this market is changing very fast.
Yeah.
So you should make your research also very fast, and how to make that your strategy would be enough in real time and with, I don't know, maybe new results, how to make it more reliable.
More reliable, yeah. The thing is, it's a really good question, and we, as mentioned before, we are collaborating, working together with Nanotech. They have a test market, not a real market. They have the simulated market, on which you can apply your trading strategy. In this case, you wouldn't lose any money. So thus, we can implement this strategy. But of course, before we have to do research, take into account commissions. In order to do this, we need some stronger hardware. Like this, as I mentioned, this is one done with CPU. CPU it's quite slow and it takes a lot of energy. Thus, next step would be implementing maybe NVIDIA cards, CUDA cores, and thus would make this even faster. For example, I just start working with CUDA cores, and now, for example, one day with this strategy and calculation takes about 5 to 7 hours. Using CUDA card with only 54 cores takes about 1 to 2 hours, so it's even half the time. So if you implement more CUDA cores, the change could be dramatic. The change.
So I would like to say, in your research, you do not evaluate the commissions.
Yes.
Because it is historical data.
Yeah.
But in real life, the trading is with commissions, including commissions. Yeah. So
it depends.
It's theoretical research only. How will you implement it into the practice?
It depends because many markets that lack liquidity ask for algorithmic traders to come to them to bring liquidity to the market, and they don't ask you to pay commissions because high frequency traders bring liquidity, and there's more movement in the market that way. In order for us to come to the market with no commissions, it's quite hard because we should have some portfolio. As I mentioned, this research is not based on efficiency and profitability of the trading, but on efficient and fast decision making, which could be implemented in artificial intelligence as well.
So it means that this research is not for end users.
Yeah.
It's for
future
market,
for
future market.
Yeah. Future markets and future works. As I mentioned before, we're going through now to GPU cards, implementing faster decisions, then maybe implement on simulated market with another company, and then go maybe with artificial intelligence the site.
Okay, it's clear. Okay, thank you. More questions? No? So, thank you. Thank you.
And this is
I will present you my article with my supervisor, Professor Audrius Lopata. We are working on knowledge-based UML model generation process from enterprise model. And now I will present you outline of the presentation. I will talk about some basic information which is needed to know in our research. Then I will present enterprise model, which is core information for our research. After that, a little bit information about UML models, and the main part of our work is matching enterprise model elements and UML elements, and also conclusions, future work, and we will have a discussion. So, main idea why we are doing that, it is because now it is very diverse advanced information system development approaches, and it is quite difficult to make the process of generating elements you needed more automated. And we are using enterprise model, which is created by our researchers a little bit time ago. So it is certain enterprise model, which I present a little bit later. And main idea that without this enterprise model, we have to use the information which is collected by an expert. So the expert, he is reliable because he is a specialist of his profession, but the main idea that he relies on his experience, and it is a human experience. So basically in most process there are one or two analysts, and we have to rely on their experience. And our idea that we would use enterprise model where information is verified and validated by several experts, and it is our idea that this information which is stored in enterprise models is already correct and can be used in further works. So we are working from the enterprise model like a first step. So we chose UML modeling language because it's quite mostly used and quite popular in this work and in information systems engineering process. So as you know, UML modeling language has two parts, dynamic and static. We are working more with dynamic part. I will explain it a little bit later. And the core information about our research is that we used already created enterprise model, information which is stored in this enterprise model. We use transformation algorithms, and we generate elements from enterprise model to UML diagrams models. So here you can see the enterprise model which I mentioned before. So according to all the elements, you can see that they cover all elements needed in software engineering, and And this knowledge, which is stored according to this enterprise model, is already verified and validated. So we can not afraid that all the information which will be used in further stages will be incorrect or something like that. So we rely on that this model stores correct information. And you also can see that elements are divided in subcategories. As we can see, actor can be process actor and function actor. Main idea that there is process and function is also divided. And in process part we see material flows, and in function we see information flows. That's main division of these elements. So according to the previous research, enterprise meta model can store full information which is needed to the process of information system development in all life cycle stages. And our work is to make design maybe modeling stage and requirement stage more faster and with more quality, with less mistakes, that the design phase could be developed without any interruptions. And also I said that we chose to use UML modeling language, and as you can see, there are structure static models like class model, object, package, and so on, and behavioral models, dynamic models which can be changed and changes according to the situation. So we are talking about use case model, information flow model, activity, state machine, both of models, and interaction model package. So the main idea what we are doing is to create algorithms, transformation algorithms, how to take the information from enterprise model, which I showed before, and to make models of UML diagrams and to give them for developers. So we use enterprise model information, where information, as I said, is verified and validated. We use transformation algorithms, and we get the models of UML dynamic part. And here is a top algorithm of creating UML model from enterprise model. It's a top level algorithm. When we see that we have to choose which model we will generate, then we use and identify initial element from which we will generate the whole model according to this initial element, and also then we select the related elements and connect them with the relationships with which then they are related, and also we take the rules, business rules, which are saved in enterprise model, and we have generated UML model which we identified in the first stage. And according to this top level diagram, we can see that it is a bit interesting moment that in UML dynamic models diagrams, in the UML dynamic models, some elements can repeat itself, but they store the information which is, for example, from different view. If you take one diagram, for example, as we can see the element of an actor, and we remember that in enterprise model we have function actor or process actor, and in UML models elements, in UML models, the actor can mean different parts, yes? For example, in this case, it can be actor or subject element. In activity model, we can have the same actor element as partition. In sequence, in communication and timing model, the actor means lifeline element. And according to description, we can see that they represent different things, different views. So our job is to ensure that from the enterprise model, where all information about this actor is stored, through the transformation algorithms, we would get the exact element of UML model which we want. according to the selected model which we are generating. So here we can see the description of use case models. Certain model we chose is use case model, and here we can see what elements we can generate. It means we can generate all the elements which we needed to use case model from the enterprise model. But we have not to forget that we have to choose in the first level, in the first top, like it was showed in top algorithm, we have to choose exact model which we want to generate, and then according to our selection we can generate and make other steps to make all the elements which are related in use case model, not just in enterprise model, but particularly use case model, and we can generate all the elements, like we can decide according to information which is saved. If we talk about concrete, about certain problem domain, yes, if we have an actor, so we generate actor element. In case the actor in this situation particular is a subject, then we generate subject. And after that, we select processes which are connected to the subject element or with the actor element, depending on which one is connected to this problem domain. And of course, later we can choose use cases, we can choose all business rules. Is it extension, is it inclusion or association? So according to this, we are generating use case model from enterprise model, taking the information which is needed just for use case model generation. The same story is with activity model, where we also have actor. It can be the same actor which was in use case model, but in this model, the description a little bit different, and it shows the problem domain in different view, different point of view, yes? And also we have here additional elements which are also stored in enterprise model and can be generated according to transformation algorithms. In here we have UML protocol state machine model and state machine model. They are a little bit different because they are used in different situations. I showed that all the elements can be generated, but it is done according to the problem domain which is analyzed and for which is needed to do that process. Here we have sequence diagram. Yes, here we also see the actor which is as generated element from enterprise model, which is a lifeline, which represents individual participant in the interaction, and also the process and functions which are related with this certain actor, in this case with a lifeline. And all the relationships are managed according to business rules element. Communication model is the same idea. In this case, we also have actor lifeline, and as you saw that interaction models of dynamic parts of UML diagrams are several. It's communication, timing, and we can see that in this case, lifeline element, like an actor from enterprise model, is the same, but the process and functions and the information flow or other elements are a little bit different. So it is also different view of the problem domain. And here we also see the in timing, UML timing model generation lifeline element, an actor, which is stored in enterprise model, which is also represents, as I said, an individual participant in the interaction. And there are a little bit more information about this part. There are more business rules and also information flow. And last one in interaction diagrams, interaction models of UML is interaction overview model, where we do not have an actor element, but we have a process function from enterprise model, which is generated to the frame from an interaction overview model. And in this case, we have 4 elements of business rules, of constraints, and so on. So here we can show the same information like in other interaction diagrams, but from different point of view, but about the same problem domain. And the main idea of our work is that all the UML diagrams can be generated from enterprise model, despite the fact is it structure models or is it behavior, but we are taken to our goal to try to generate dynamic part, because if we will decide to make all the diagrams, it would be quite a big work, so we decided to take just dynamic part, and to show that it is possible that enterprise model storage and information which is stored in that is enough to make the generation process, and just we need to improve our transformation algorithms to more deeper level, and we are planning and trying to create a knowledge-based tools prototype which would show the partial implementation of these diagrams and to show all the possibilities of this generation with real information, with real data, to show that not only in research level it is possible, but also in problem domain which we can choose in some possible ways in different scopes and ideas. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
How do you ensure the correctness of generation between different kinds of models?
We decided that if we talk about the information which is stored in enterprise model, in this case we are ensured that all information is correct, validated and verified by experts, and from this side, from this part, we are taking correct information, but we, according to our identified model, selecting the particular information for each model. So we are trying to show that depending on what model for generation you selected, so it shows what information you have to take from enterprise model.
But did you test, for example, is really the result is a correct result?
With real data, unfortunately, but not yet. But we are working on that process.
Okay. More questions? Okay, I have no questions because I'm co-author of this research, so I have a possibility to ask personally. So thank you very much, and this is your certificate. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Audrius, for your excellent chairmanship and contribution to the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the participants, and I hope to see you all next year in our session again. And thank you very much. This session is closed.